The alarm bells of Nexus 7 space station rang through the metal corridors like screaming birds. Ben pulled his rifle closer to his chest as he ran down the damaged hallway. Smoke filled the air, making his eyes water. The pirate attack had come without warning, and now half the station was on fire. Ben was a human warrior, trained by Earth's military to protect trade routes in this part of the galaxy. He was not tall like some soldiers, but his muscles were strong from years of training. His brown hair was cut short, and his green eyes stayed alert even in danger. Today was supposed to be a simple guard duty mission. Nothing simple ever stayed simple in space. All clear in Section 7, his radio crackled. Moving to Section 8. Ben pressed his radio button. Copy that. Checking Section 9 now. He pushed open a twisted metal door and stepped into what used to be the diplomatic meeting room. The beautiful room was now a mess of broken furniture and shattered glass. In the center of the destruction lay a small spacecraft, no bigger than a family car. It had crashed right through the station's outer wall. The ship looked like it was made of living crystal. Ben had never seen anything like it. The surface was smooth and clear, but it glowed with a soft blue light from inside. Cracks ran across its hull like spider webs, and strange purple liquid dripped from the damage. Ben approached carefully. His training told him to call for backup, but something made him move closer. Through the crystal walls of the ship, he could see movement inside. The ship's door was stuck. Ben grabbed the edges and pulled with all his strength. The crystal door finally opened with a sound like breaking ice. Inside, the ship was even more beautiful. Everything was made of the same clear crystal, and soft lights moved through the walls like flowing water. But Ben's attention went straight to the figure lying on the floor. She was clearly not human. Her skin was pale and translucent, like thin crystal. Through her skin, Ben could see veins that glowed with soft purple light. Her hair was white as snow and seemed to float around her head even though there was no wind. She was small and delicate, wearing robes that sparkled like stars. She was also dying. Purple blood leaked from several wounds across her body. Her breathing was shallow and fast. Her eyes, large and silver like mirrors, opened and looked at Ben with pain and fear. "Help," she whispered in a voice like music. "Please help." Ben knelt beside her. "I'm going to get you to the medical bay. Hold on." He reached to pick her up, but she grabbed his arm with surprising strength. "No time," she said. Her voice was getting weaker. "Guards dead. Ship broken. Blood running out." Ben looked around the ship. 3 other figures lay motionless near the walls. They looked like the woman but larger, probably her guards. Their crystal skin had gone dark, showing they were dead. "What do you need?" Ben asked. "What can I do?" The woman's silver eyes focused on him with effort. "I am Princess Nira of the Vextar Empire. My blood is not like yours. I need mineral plasma to live. Without it, I die in minutes." Ben's mind raced. The medical bay on Nexus 7 was basic. It could help humans and a few other common species, but he had never heard of Vextar before. They probably did not have what she needed. "How far is your nearest medical facility?" he asked. "For days' travel," Princess Nira said. Her breathing became even weaker. "Too far. Too late." Ben stared at her. For days was impossible. She would not last 4 hours at this rate. He looked at her wounds and the purple blood still flowing out. In his military training, they had taught him basic medical care for humans. But this was completely different. "Is there anything else?" he asked. "Any other way?" Princess Nira's eyes started to close. "My people studied other species long ago. Before we became crystal. Before we forgot. Some blood types might work, but they are dangerous. Most would poison me instantly." "What about human blood?" Ben asked quickly. Her eyes opened wide with surprise. Human blood is supposed to be toxic to Vextar. Our scientists say it would kill me faster than the wounds. Ben looked at his hands. His own blood was red and warm, flowing with life. Here was a princess of an alien empire, dying in front of him because of pirates. She had done nothing wrong. She was probably here for peace talks or trade agreements. Now she would die because he could not help her. But maybe he could help her. What if our scientists were wrong? Ben said. What if human blood could save you instead of killing you? Princess Neera stared at him. You would risk that? If I am right, your blood will cause me horrible pain before I die. And if our blood mixes wrongly, it might hurt you too. Ben was already rolling up his sleeve. My people have a saying. Sometimes you have to take the chance. Why? She whispered. I am a stranger. An alien. My empire is not allied with your Earth. Ben looked into her silver eyes. He saw intelligence there, and kindness, and fear. But he also saw something else. Hope. She was hoping he would try, even though it was dangerous. Because you asked for help, Ben said simply. And I can give it. He took out his military knife and made a small cut on his arm. Red blood immediately began to flow. Princess Neera watched with wide eyes. I need something to connect us, Ben said, looking around the crystal ship. Princess Neera pointed weakly to a small crystal tube near her hand. Medical connector. It can link different blood types temporarily. Ben picked up the strange device. It was warm to the touch and seemed to pulse with its own life. One end was sharp like a needle, and the other end had a small cup shape. How does it work? He asked. Sharp end goes in your arm. Cup end goes over my wound. It will filter and adjust the blood as it flows. Ben did not hesitate. He pushed the sharp end into his cut. The device immediately began to glow with white light. He could feel it doing something to his blood, but it did not hurt. Instead, it felt warm and strange, like electricity running through his arm. He placed the cup end over the largest wound on Princess Neera's shoulder. The device began to pulse faster, and Ben could see his red blood flowing through the clear tube. But as it moved toward the princess, something amazing happened. His red blood slowly changed color, becoming purple like hers. Impossible, Princess Neera whispered, but she was already looking stronger. The device worked for several minutes. Ben began to feel dizzy from blood loss, but he did not stop. He watched as Princess Neera's wounds slowly began to close. Her skin, which had been pale and cold, started to glow with warm light. But something else was happening too. Where Ben's blood entered her body, strange new patterns appeared in her crystal skin. Golden lines spread outward like tree branches, mixing with her natural purple glow. The patterns were beautiful, like living art moving under her skin. What is happening to me? Princess Neera asked. Her voice was stronger now, filled with wonder instead of pain. Ben was wondering the same thing about himself. He felt different. Stronger somehow, even though he had lost blood. His vision seemed sharper, and he could hear sounds from far away in the station. Even more strange, when Princess Neera spoke, he understood her perfectly even though she was speaking in a different language than before. The medical device finally stopped pulsing and became quiet. Ben carefully removed it from both of them. The cuts closed immediately, leaving only small scars. Princess Neera sat up slowly. She looked at her hands with amazement. The golden patterns in her skin moved and flowed like liquid light. When she touched the walls of her ship, they responded to her touch, glowing brighter. I feel so different, she said. Like I am more than I was before. Like I can sense things I never could sense. Ben nodded. He felt the same way. I can understand your language now. That should not be possible. Princess Neera looked at him with her silver eyes, but now Ben could see something new in them. She was not just looking at him. She was sensing him, feeling his emotions and thoughts in a way that went beyond normal sight. "Your blood did not poison me," she said softly. "It woke something up inside me. Something that was sleeping in my genes for thousands of years." Ben helped her stand. She was steady on her feet now, completely healed. "What do you mean?" "My people used to be different, long ago. Before we became crystal beings, we had abilities that we lost over time. Abilities to sense emotions, to heal others, to connect with different species. But we forgot how to use these powers. They became locked away in our genetics." She looked at her hands again, watching the golden patterns flow. "But your human blood somehow unlocked them. It gave me back what my people lost." Ben stared at her. "And your blood did something to me too. I feel stronger, faster. I can understand your language and hear things better than before." They stood in the crystal ship, looking at each other with wonder. Outside, the alarms were still ringing, and the station was still damaged from the pirate attack. But inside this small ship, something incredible had happened. Something that would change both of their lives forever. "What do we do now?" Ben asked. Princess Nira smiled, and when she did, the golden patterns in her skin pulsed brighter. "Now we figure out what this means. For both of our species." Ben nodded. He had come here to guard the station from pirates. Instead, he had discovered something that could change the entire galaxy. He looked at Princess Nira, no longer a dying alien stranger, but someone connected to him in a way he did not yet understand. The adventure was just beginning. Princess Nira stood in her crystal ship and touched the walls again. The ship responded to her touch like it was alive. Lights flowed through the crystal from her fingertips, spreading across the entire hull. The cracks that had covered the ship began to seal themselves, healing like wounds. "This should not be possible," she whispered, staring at her hands. "Vexstar technology responds to our minds, but never like this. Never so completely." Ben watched in amazement as the ship repaired itself around them. "How are you doing that?" "I do not know," Princess Nira said. "I can feel the ship's systems in my mind. I can sense every circuit, every power flow. It is like the ship and I are connected in a new way." Ben stepped closer to examine the healing hull. As he approached, something strange happened. He could suddenly sense the ship too. Not as clearly as Princess Nira, but he could feel its energy patterns and understand how the crystal technology worked. "I can feel it too," Ben said with surprise. "Just being near you, I can understand your technology." Princess Nira turned to look at him. When their eyes met, Ben felt a gentle touch in his mind. It was not invasive or frightening. It felt warm and safe, like someone offering their hand in friendship. "Can you hear my thoughts?" Princess Nira asked, but her lips did not move. Her voice came directly into Ben's mind. Ben concentrated and tried to respond the same way. "Yes, I can hear you. This is incredible." They stared at each other, both amazed by what was happening. The blood exchange had done more than save Princess Nira's life. It had created some kind of connection between them. "We should test these abilities," Princess Nira said out loud. "We need to understand what has happened to us." Ben nodded. "But first, we should get off this ship. The station security will want to check on the crash site soon." Princess Nira raised her hand toward the ship's door. The crystal door opened smoothly, responding to her will. Together, they stepped back into the damaged diplomatic room of Nexus 7. The destruction looked even worse now that Ben's senses were enhanced. He could smell the burnt circuits and feel the vibrations from damaged machinery throughout the station. His hearing had become so sharp that he could detect conversations happening several rooms away. "Ben, are you there?" His radio crackled with the voice of Captain Ross, the station security chief. "Report your status." Ben picked up his radio. "This is Ben. I found the crashed ship in Section 9. The pilot is alive but injured. Requesting medical assistance. Copy that. Medical team is on the way. Are there any other survivors? Ben looked at the 3 dead guards in the crystal ship. Negative. 3 casualties inside the ship. Understood. Secure the area until we arrive. Ben put down his radio and turned to Princess Nira. They will be here soon. Are you ready to meet other humans? Princess Nira nodded, but Ben could sense her nervousness through their new connection. I have met humans before in diplomatic settings, but never after something like this. Will they be afraid of me? Some might be, Ben said honestly. But Captain Ross is a good man. He will listen to what happened. As they waited, Princess Nira began to explore her new abilities. She discovered that she could sense the emotions of every person on the station. The fear from the recent pirate attack, the relief that it was over, the curiosity about the crashed ship. All of these feelings reached her like waves. This is overwhelming, she said, pressing her hands to her temples. I can feel everyone. Hundreds of minds, all with different emotions. Ben reached out and took her hand. The moment they touched, the overwhelming sensation calmed down. Is that better? Yes, Princess Nira said with relief. Your presence helps me focus. It filters out the noise. Heavy footsteps echoed in the corridor outside. Captain Ross entered the room with 2 medics and a security team. Ross was an older human with gray hair and kind eyes. He had been running Nexus 7 for 10 years and had seen many strange things in space. Ben, what happened here? Ross asked, looking at the crystal ship with wonder. The ship crashed during the pirate attack, Ben explained. The pilot is Princess Nira of the Vextar Empire. She was badly injured, but I was able to help her. Ross looked at Princess Nira with curiosity, not fear. Your Highness, I am Captain Ross. Are you feeling well enough to answer some questions? Princess Nira stepped forward and bowed slightly in the Vextar way. Captain Ross, I am grateful for your station's protection. The pirates attacked my diplomatic transport as we approached for fuel and supplies. Diplomatic transport? Ross asked. Were you here for official business? Yes. My empire sent me to establish trade agreements with the human colonies in this sector. We believe cooperation between our species could benefit everyone. Ross nodded approvingly. I agree completely. But I have to ask, how exactly did Ben help you? Our medical bay is not equipped for Vextar physiology. Ben and Princess Nira exchanged glances. They had expected this question, but they were not sure how to explain what had happened. Captain, Ben said carefully, we discovered something unusual. It turns out that human blood can help Vextar in ways no one expected. What do you mean? Ross asked. Princess Nira decided to show him rather than explain. She approached one of the damaged wall panels in the room. When she placed her hands on it, golden light flowed from her fingers. The twisted metal straightened itself, and the broken circuits reconnected. In seconds, the wall panel was completely repaired. The medics and security team stepped back in amazement. Captain Ross stared at the wall with his mouth open. How did you do that? He asked. The blood exchange with Ben awakened dormant abilities in my genetics, Princess Nira explained. Abilities my people lost long ago. And what about you, Ben? Ross asked. Did it affect you too? Ben demonstrated by lifting a heavy piece of debris that normally would have required 3 people to move. He lifted it easily with one hand. My strength and senses have increased significantly. And I can understand Vextar technology now. Captain Ross sat down heavily on a piece of undamaged furniture. This is extraordinary. Do you realize what this means? Before anyone could answer, alarms began ringing again throughout the station. But these were not attack alarms. These were arrival notifications. Ross pressed his communicator. Control room, what is the situation? Sir, we have multiple ships requesting permission to dock. 3 Zephyrian cruisers, 2 Mantid research vessels, and 1 hegemony battleship. They all claim to have urgent business related to the incident in Section 9. Ross looked at Ben and Princess Nira with concern. Word travels fast in space. How could they know about this already? Princess Nira closed her eyes and concentrated. With her enhanced abilities, she could sense the minds on the approaching ships. What she found made her afraid. Captain Ross, she said urgently, some of these beings are coming here with good intentions. They want to study and understand what happened. But others have darker purposes. They want to capture us and use our abilities for their own gain. Ben felt Princess Nira's fear through their connection. How many ships are we talking about? Ross was getting more reports through his communicator. Control room says we now have 12 ships in the area, with more arriving every hour. This is turning into a diplomatic crisis. We need to be very careful about who we trust, Princess Nira said. Some species have been searching for ways to enhance their abilities for centuries. If they learn that human blood can unlock dormant genetics in other species, they might try to force this process on unwilling subjects. Ben understood the implications immediately. They could try to capture humans for our blood, or capture other species to experiment on. Captain Ross stood up and began pacing. We need to contact Earth Command and the Vextar Empire immediately. This situation is beyond what a simple space station can handle. Already done, sir, came a voice from the doorway. Dr. Elena Vasquez, the station's chief scientist, entered the room with a tablet full of data. I have been monitoring communications since the first ships arrived. Both Earth Command and the Vextar High Council are sending representatives. But they will not arrive for at least 2 days. What about the ships that are here now? Ross asked. Dr. Vasquez looked at her tablet. The Zephyrians are claiming scientific interest. The Mantids want to study the biological implications. The hegemony ship says they are here for security purposes. Princess Nira shook her head. The hegemony does not care about security. They want to control this discovery. Their species has been trying to enhance their natural telepathy for generations. And the others? Ben asked. Mixed intentions, Princess Nira said after concentrating on the distant minds. Some genuinely want to help and understand. Others see opportunity for profit or power. Dr. Vasquez held up her tablet. There is something else you should know. I have been analyzing the energy readings from this room during the last hour. The levels are unlike anything I have ever seen. Whatever happened between you two, it has created a localized field that is affecting the entire station. What kind of effects? Ross asked. Enhanced efficiency in all systems. Faster data processing. Even the artificial gravity is more stable. It is as if the station itself is working better just because you are here. Ben and Princess Nira looked at each other with growing amazement and concern. Their abilities were still developing, and they were already affecting their environment in ways they did not understand. Captain, Ben said, I think we need to consider that this discovery is bigger than just the 2 of us. If human blood can unlock hidden genetics in Vextar, it might work with other species too. Princess Nira nodded. And if my enhanced abilities can improve technology and heal damage, there could be benefits for everyone. But only if we can prevent this knowledge from being misused. Ross made a decision. All right. Until Earth Command and the Vextar Council arrive, this station is under emergency protocols. No one docks without full security clearance. No one meets with you two without my personal approval. Sir, Dr. Vasquez said, we are receiving formal requests for meetings from all the ships. Some are offering substantial payments for access. Others are making threats. The situation was becoming more complex by the hour. What had started as a simple rescue was becoming a galactic incident that could change the relationship between every spacefaring species. Princess Nira took Ben's hand again, finding strength in their connection. Whatever happens next, we face it together. Ben squeezed her hand and felt her confidence flow through their link. Agreed. But I have a feeling our real challenges are just beginning. Outside, more ships continued to arrive, each bringing new opportunities and new dangers to Nexus 7. 2 days passed on Nexus 7, and the small space station had become the center of galactic attention. 37 ships now orbited the station, representing 15 different species. Captain Ross had never seen so many different aliens in one place, and the diplomatic pressure was enormous. Ben stood in the station's main conference room, looking out at the fleet of ships through the large viewing window. His enhanced senses could detect the energy signatures from each vessel, and Princess Neera's telepathic abilities let them both sense the intentions of the crews aboard. The Earth Command ship just arrived, Dr. Vasquez announced as she entered the room. Admiral Chen is requesting immediate boarding permission. Princess Neera nodded from her position near the crystal communication device her people had sent. The Vexstar High Council ship is also here. Counselor Zara wishes to meet with us. Captain Ross looked tired from managing the crisis. At least our own people are finally here. Maybe we can get some answers about what to do next. Over the past 2 days, Ben and Princess Neera had discovered that their abilities were still growing. Princess Neera could now heal not just Vexstar crystal technology, but mechanical systems from dozens of different species. Ben's strength had increased to the point where he could bend metal with his bare hands, and his understanding of alien languages had expanded to include species he had never encountered. More importantly, they had learned that their blood exchange was not a one-time event. The changes in their biology were permanent and still developing. There is something else, Princess Neera said quietly. I have been sensing the emotions from all the ships out there. Many species are afraid of what this discovery means. They worry that humans and Vexstar will become too powerful. Ben turned from the window. And others want to force the process on their own people, even if it is dangerous. Dr. Vasquez held up her latest research tablet. I have been analyzing samples of both your blood types. The compatibility is remarkable, but it seems to be specific to humans and Vexstar. Preliminary tests suggest that other species combinations might not work the same way. Might not work, or might be deadly? Captain Ross asked. Potentially deadly, Dr. Vasquez admitted. The genetic markers that allow this process are very rare. Forcing it on incompatible species could cause severe biological damage. The door to the conference room opened, and Admiral Chen entered with 2 Earth Command officers. Admiral Chen was a small woman with sharp eyes and a reputation for solving difficult problems. Behind her came Counselor Zara, a tall Vexstar with deep blue crystal skin and ancient wisdom in her silver eyes. Princess Neera, Warrior Ben, Admiral Chen said formally. I am Admiral Chen of Earth Command. Counselor Zara and I have spent the journey here discussing the implications of your discovery. Counselor Zara stepped forward and bowed to Princess Neera in the traditional way. Your Highness, the High Council is both proud and concerned. What you have accomplished could change the galaxy, but it also presents great risks. What kind of risks? Ben asked. Admiral Chen activated a holographic display showing the ships outside. In the past 48 hours, we have detected military buildups from 3 major powers. The hegemony is mobilizing their research fleets. The Syndicate is offering massive payments for exclusive access to this technology. And the Dominion has issued threats against anyone who tries to weaponize biological enhancement. They are all afraid, Princess Neera said sadly. They think this discovery will upset the balance of power in the galaxy. Counselor Zara nodded. Fear makes people do dangerous things. Some species are already trying to replicate the process using captured human and Vexstar blood samples. The results have been catastrophic. Dr. Vasquez looked alarmed. What do you mean catastrophic? 17 volunteers from different species have died attempting forced blood exchanges, Admiral Chen said grimly. Another 30 are in critical condition. The process only works safely under very specific circumstances. Ben felt anger rising in his chest. They are killing people trying to copy what saved Princess Neera's life. That is why we need to act quickly, Counselor Zara said. We must establish proper protocols before more lives are lost. Princess Neera stood and walked to the center of the room. As she moved, the golden patterns in her crystal skin pulsed brighter, responding to her emotions. There is something we have not told you yet. Something we discovered yesterday. She looked at Ben, and he nodded encouragingly. Princess Neera and I have been experimenting with our abilities. We found that we can share them with others temporarily. What do you mean? Admiral Chen asked. Ben approached Princess Neera and took her hand. The moment they touched, both of their enhanced abilities became stronger. The golden light in Princess Neera's skin spread to Ben's arm where they connected. When we are in physical contact, I can use her healing abilities, and she can access my enhanced strength, Ben explained. But more than that, we can extend these abilities to others through touch. Princess Neera reached out and touched Dr. Vasquez's arm. Immediately, Dr. Vasquez's eyes widened with amazement. I can understand the Vextar language, Dr. Vasquez said in wonder. And I can sense the technology in this room. I can feel how it all works. The effect is temporary, Princess Neera said, releasing Dr. Vasquez's arm. It fades after a few minutes. But during that time, the person can access abilities they never had before. Admiral Chen and Counselor Zara exchanged meaningful looks. This changes everything, Admiral Chen said. If you can temporarily share abilities without permanent biological changes, it eliminates most of the risks. And it means the benefits can be shared widely without forcing dangerous procedures on anyone, Counselor Zara added. Captain Ross stepped forward. What are you suggesting? Counselor Zara activated her own holographic display, showing star charts and trade routes. Princess Neera was originally coming here to establish trade agreements. What if we expanded that mission? What if we created something bigger? Admiral Chen continued the thought. An interspecies medical and technological exchange program. Humans and Vextar working together to help other species solve problems they could not solve alone. Ben understood immediately. Instead of hoarding these abilities or selling them to the highest bidder, we share them freely to help everyone. Exactly, Princess Neera said, her excitement making her skin glow brighter. My healing abilities could help repair damage from wars and disasters. Ben's enhanced understanding could help translate between species that have never been able to communicate. Dr. Vasquez was already taking notes on her tablet. And the temporary sharing effect means we could train others to use these abilities for short periods. Medical teams could temporarily access Vextar healing powers during emergencies. Diplomats could temporarily understand alien languages during negotiations. But what about the military applications? Captain Ross asked. Other species will still want to use this for warfare. Admiral Chen smiled grimly. That is where human nature becomes an advantage. From what I have observed, these abilities only work through voluntary cooperation and genuine desire to help others. You cannot force them or use them for harm. Princess Neera nodded. We tried to use the healing ability to damage something yesterday, just to test it. The power simply would not work. It seems to be connected to our intentions and emotions. So the abilities are self-limiting, Counselor Zara observed. They can only be used for positive purposes. Ben walked back to the viewing window and looked at all the ships waiting outside. So what do we do about them? Some of those crews have been waiting for days to meet with us. Admiral Chen and Counselor Zara had clearly prepared for this question. We invite representatives from every ship to witness a demonstration, Admiral Chen said. We show them exactly how these abilities work and what they can be used for. And then we offer them a choice, Counselor Zara added. They can join the exchange program and benefit from cooperative sharing, or they can continue trying to develop military applications and gain nothing. Princess Neera squeezed Ben's hand. Are you ready for this? Once we make this public, there will be no going back. Ben thought about everything that had happened since he found Princess Nira dying in her crashed ship. He had saved her life by giving his blood, never expecting anything in return. Now they had the chance to turn that simple act of compassion into something that could help the entire galaxy. I am ready, Ben said firmly. This is what humans do. We help others, even when it is difficult or dangerous. Over the next several hours, they worked with Admiral Chen and Counselor Zara to prepare for the largest interspecies gathering in galactic history. Representatives from all 37 ships would be invited to Nexus 7's main assembly hall. When the meeting began, Ben stood on the stage next to Princess Nira, looking out at dozens of different alien species. Some he recognized from his military training, others he had never seen before. All of them watched with intense curiosity and varying degrees of suspicion. Admiral Chen stepped forward to address the crowd. Beings of the galaxy, we are here to discuss a discovery that affects all of our species. Rather than explain it, we will show you. Princess Nira moved to a section of the assembly hall that had been damaged during the pirate attack. She placed her hands on the broken wall panels and concentrated. Golden light flowed from her touch, and the twisted metal straightened and repaired itself completely. Murmurs of amazement rippled through the audience. Ben approached a complex piece of manta technology that had been brought for the demonstration. Even though he had never seen this type of device before, his enhanced abilities let him understand how it worked. He quickly identified a malfunction in its power systems and fixed it with his bare hands. The manted representatives chittered with excitement. These abilities came from a voluntary blood exchange between our species, Princess Nira announced to the crowd. They cannot be forced or stolen. They only work through cooperation and mutual trust. Ben continued, and they can be shared temporarily with others who want to help solve problems and heal damage. For the next hour, they demonstrated how the temporary ability sharing worked. Volunteers from different species experienced enhanced healing, improved understanding, and expanded technological knowledge for brief periods. By the end of the demonstration, the mood in the assembly hall had changed completely. Instead of fear and suspicion, Ben sensed curiosity and hope from most of the representatives. The Zephyrian ambassador was the first to speak. If we join this exchange program, what would be required of us? Counselor Zara answered, commitment to using these shared abilities only for healing, learning, and peaceful cooperation. Any species that tries to weaponize the technology will be excluded from the program. And what do we gain? Asked a hegemony representative. Princess Nira smiled, and her skin glowed with warm golden light. Access to abilities and knowledge that could solve problems your species has struggled with for centuries. Medical advances that could save millions of lives. Technological insights that could improve life for everyone. Ben looked around the room at all the different species represented. Most importantly, you gain the chance to be part of something bigger than any one empire or species. A galaxy where everyone helps everyone else. The vote was not immediate. Many representatives needed time to consult with their governments. But over the following weeks, 43 different species joined what became known as the Galactic Cooperation Initiative. The program started small, with shared medical missions and joint research projects. But it grew quickly as species discovered how much they could accomplish together. Diseases that had plagued civilizations for millennia were cured through combined human-Vextar healing techniques. Wars ended when diplomats could truly understand each other through enhanced communication abilities. Ben and Princess Nira became the first ambassadors of the new program, traveling throughout the galaxy to help establish cooperation centers on major worlds. They never forgot that it all started with a simple choice to help a stranger, even when it seemed dangerous. Years later, when historians wrote about the beginning of the Galactic Golden Age, they would trace it back to a single moment on Nexus 7 space station. The moment when a human warrior chose to give his blood to save a dying alien princess, and discovered that humanity's greatest strength was not their technology or their military power. It was their willingness to sacrifice for others, even for strangers from distant stars. The blood covenant between Ben and Princess Nira had become a covenant between all the species of the galaxy, built on the foundation of cooperation, compassion, and the simple human belief that helping others was always worth the risk.